This is my philosophy midterm, and it is titled Plato and the Socratic Method. Plato is one of the most important philosophers to have ever lived. He was widely known as the dreamer and a student of Socrates. Not only did he explore the mind and why we do the things we do, he was also a very smart man and the founder of Platonist school of thought, the Academy, and the first institution of higher learning in the Western world. Plato was born 428/427 before Christ in Athens, Greece, and died 348/347 before Christ at age 80. He lived a very full life, full of imagination and excitement. Learning was something that always came easy to Plato, so he thought he would share his talent. The reason Plato was labeled the dreamer out of all philosophers was because many other philosophers, like Aristotle, were very scientific-based and rule followers. The opposite of Plato. I feel a strong connection to Plato in terms of learning and being a dreamer. The concept I chose from Plato is called the Socratic Method. The Socratic Method is a method of inquiry and was labeled as one of his most important contributions. It allows for the examination of key moral concepts, such as good and justice. It was first described by Plato in the Socratic dialogues. Since then, Plato is believed to be the father of political philosophy and ethics of moral philosophy. In summary, the Socratic method believes that questions can only be answered with more questions and that there is no real truth, only power and success. This concept introduced by Plato really interested me because it relates to myself in several ways. If I had to pinpoint my style of learning, I would believe it to be very similar to Plato's imaginative mind. I appreciate answers that are open-ended and can be interpreted in many ways. For example, if you were to ask several people what makes you happiest, their answers would all be very different. There is no right or wrong answer to that question. This allows people the freedom of expressing different emotions based on the interpretation of the question. A specific time this happened to me in my life is when my dance teacher asked me the question, "What do I want to do with my life?" Hearing that statement, my brain immediately started questioning and exploring different ways that I could answer this. I thought to myself, do I want to go to school? If so, what school? Do I want to continue dance throughout my life? And how do I improve so I can turn this into a career? What should be my focus moving forward? At that point in time, I didn't have a specific answer to give to my dance teacher. There are tons of other questions and exploring I must do in order to discover my journey and personal success. There is no correct answer to this question because it's not as simple as a yes or no answer, but rather a method of inquiry. I have always naturally been a very caring and selfless person towards my friends and peers. Their well-being has always come first to me. I will drop anything I'm doing to give my advice if it's needed. In terms of applying the Socratic method to my peers, I encourage them to really evaluate a choice before deciding and acting on it. I force this upon my peers because I believe if you question the decision that you might decide on the option that benefits you for the now, whereas if you question the decision that you decide on, the option benefits you in the long run. For example, my best friend was having some troubles with her boyfriend. She had made up her mind that she did want to break up with him and came to me for advice. I then made her calm down and reevaluate her decision with further questions, such as, am I being irrational? Will I regret this? And so on. This gave her some things to think about. That way, if she still decided to follow through with the breakup, she would be sure she was making the right decision. The Socratic method applies to everybody in their everyday life for many aspects. It's important to tap into this and test out Plato's way of thinking. Personally, it made a large impact on my life and my friends as we've learned to discover our personal successes.